We talk about Sherrone Moore, who was the university head coach, the University of Michigan head coach. He loses it all by having an affair with a female staffer, and now everything is gone upside down for him. And it's just he brought on himself. Well, stuff like that. When you have opportunity like that, you don't squander it and you don't waste it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Viral. I'm your host, as always, Kendrick Dix here. Glad you can join us here on Viral. We talk about the Michigan head coach that been fired, Sherrone Moore. What's next for him, and how this scandal get too big for him to be let go by the University of Michigan. We'll get to it in a minute. But first thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag Viral here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing. Here on Viral, we talk about Sherrone Moore, the former University of Michigan head coach who's went up the ranks as a athletic. He was an assistant coach, and then he got moved up when Jim Harbaugh left to become the head coach of the program. Now a new scandal has involved him, mistress, and a whole bunch of stuff that he wants to do that really cost him his whole livelihood. Let's get to the latest on what's going on with our viral insider, Bob Evans.
A former Michigan football coach is no longer with the program following a situation that quickly gained attention online. University officials confirmed a personnel decision after reports surfaced involving a relationship that raised concerns about professional boundaries. As discussion spread across social media, the university faced growing pressure to respond. Michigan moved swiftly, emphasizing its commitment to accountability and institutional standards. While reactions continue to pour in, the message is clear. Leadership roles come with expectations that extend beyond the field.
Thank you, Bob, for that insight. The Michigan head coach, man, he had it all. He had the money, he had his family, and now he just loses all. And you can see right here in this right here, he's in court awaiting what his sentence is. Why would you do something like that? That's just come on, man. You got a family, you got a wife, and you lose it all because you want to be with your mistress, and then you threaten to unlive her and unlive yourself because something that went down south. That's why I say some people don't think with their emotion. They think with their emotions, not with their you know stuff that gets them unemotional and stuff like that. You can be emotional, but then again, don't get too wrapped up. And I think he got too wrapped up in his own business. I think that's what cost him his job. And it's unfortunate that stuff like that happens, but it happens. Let's hear what you people had to say. You people had a lot to say on what people say about Sherrone Moore losing his job as head coach of the University of Michigan and having an affair with a female staff. Let's take a look at what you people had to say.
Yeah, I did hear about that. Quite unfortunate. Hopefully, we'll be better
it was a
next
little crazy.
year.
I heard there was like some allegations, but like I don't know. I mean, it was literally like a shockwave through like all my friend groups. Like it was definitely something to be heard. I don't know who we're gonna have next. Hopefully Chip or Bogey. Yeah, Biff Pogey.
I was just studying for finals today, and I got the text from my dad to an article. It's like, that cannot be real. Like, obviously everyone's heard the rumors, but didn't think it would actually come to fruition. 9-3, that's nothing to write home about. But I don't know if it's a coach firing season, but and then everything else came out, and it's just shocking to see, like, this guy, the figurehead of your program, is just not a good look, not something you want to see as Michigan fan of football, anything going on.
I mean, one of the things that I liked about the Sherrone choice is that, especially when Harbaugh was first suspended, there was this big feeling of just like Sherrone being a culture guy, I remember, and, you know, just like seeming to really like his love for the team and all that. And so I've always sort of had a very positive attitude, partially because I thought he seemed like such a great, likable person. And so it's really disappointing to hear.
Yeah, just crazy news. Must be the talk of the town here in Ann Arbor, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just came from a restaurant, and the people at the table next to us, as soon as I sat down, were talking about just that.
Sherrone Moore is not the head coach of Michigan anymore. Sherrone Moore is currently detained in a jail, I believe, in Michigan, not because of the reason why he got fired, but because of what happened immediately after he got fired. Biff Pogge, who's a businessman, billionaire, extraordinaire, will be the interim head coach for the Michigan Wolverines. He was this earlier in the year when Sherrone was suspended for a couple games. They play Texas New Year's Eve in the Cheez-It Bowl. They're only 6.5-point favorites against a Michigan team whose starting quarterback has already taken Michigan all the way out of his entire social media status, in Michigan for the next 2 weeks is poachable for any coachable to go and get them.
Sometime midday, Sherrone Moore was dismissed from the University of Michigan with cause. They were very clear that this was because of an inappropriate relationship. Not long after that, police in Pittsfield, Michigan, Pittsfield Township, responded to investigate what they called in a press release an alleged assault. Not long after that, Michigan had a team meeting where the team was told of Sherrone Moore's dismissal. I think it was 4:43 p.m. was the official time of Michigan announcing this. Around 7:15 last night, the city of Saline, Michigan, announced that Moore had been detained, and they were working in partnership with Pittsfield Township. Then it emerged through court documents last night that Sherrone Moore had been booked in Washtenaw County Jail. He's still in custody in Washtenaw County Jail. No announcement of a decision on charges is expected today.
Okay, we got some wild news. Michigan, with a very shocking move, has decided to fire their head coach, Sherrone Moore, at the worst possible time. Like, I'm not surprised that they fired him, but why now? This is extremely late. All the best head coaching candidates are gone. And I was very confused. I was very taken back. But let me show you why I had to redo this video. This just came out while I was uploading. Sherrone Moore had an inappropriate relationship with a Michigan staffer, which led to his termination. Now they got an interim head coach. This is bad. This is not good. See, I thought Michigan secretly had, like, a candidate that they were going to hire. I thought, like, behind the scenes, they were looking for a new head coach. No! Apparently not. He was doing some shit, man. This could be one of those moves that really could hurt Michigan. I know he wasn't the best head coach, but the problem is, again, there's really no good head coaches left. And with the transfer portal, a lot of recruits could be leaving. This is not good. All right, Michigan.
So I've been asked to sort of elaborate Sherrone Moore. We now know much more about what happened. According to prosecutors, he broke into his former girlfriend's apartment, ranted at her that she'd ruined his life, pulled out scissors and butter knives from a drawer, threatened to kill himself in front of her. She felt threatened for her life, called police. This is his former personal assistant, which, no good. And then this is from a piece called Lawyers, Guns, Money Blog. Turns out Moore was following around 300 OnlyFans models on Instagram. This is public information in that apparently when you follow people on Instagram, anybody who looks at your account can see that. An Instagram model who happens to be a very big Michigan football fan claims that Moore DM'd her during halftime of Michigan's biggest game of the season against Ohio State. Guy wrote, "This seems literally incredible to me." And of course, the OnlyFans model is generating pub for herself, but given what happened, who knows? I'm going to say something and you're going to be like, fuck that guy, which is fair. Like, it's all just sad more than, it's just sad. I find demises sad. Like, I just find demises sad. And I know, obviously, this guy will never coach again, should never coach again. I don't know what's going to happen to him. Like, his career is ruined, his name is ruined. I feel horrible for his wife and kids. like horrible for his wife and kids. If we can be empathetic for a minute, like they're the ones who actually, besides him, really have to suffer with the demise of his name, and they did nothing to cause this. They didn't ask to be in the spotlight. They didn't ask to be figures related to a famous person. Like this, it's just tragic more than anything. And it also goes to show you, I'm telling you, like what you think about famous people and people of note, and you think they have everything and they think their lives are just gold. You just never know. You never, ever, ever, ever know. And a lot of times people who sacrifice so much to have big positions and huge status spots in life are suppressing stuff, personally. I've just found that repeatedly writing about famous people, suppressing stuff, suppressing urges, suppressing needs, just suppression. And I've seen it 313,000 times writing about famous people, that it's just always there. So, yeah, it's titillating. Yeah, he's obviously awful. But more than anything, I just feel horrible for the people around him. I don't give a shit about Michigan football. Though I will say, for the first time ever, it's better to be a Delaware fan than a Michigan fan. I say that since we have the same helmets. But I don't give a shit about Michigan football. The players will be okay. The assistant coaches will be okay. But the family, the wife, the kids, there's a lot to fucking deal with. A lot to deal with. And it will follow them for the rest of their lives, which is awful.
Former University of Michigan football coach Sherrone Moore made no expression during his arraignment Friday as prosecutors detailed what he allegedly did at the home of his female assistant.
Barged his way into that apartment, immediately then proceeded to a kitchen drawer, grabbed several butter knives and a pair of kitchen scissors, and began to threaten his own life. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to make you watch. My blood is on your hands. You ruined my life.
Moore faces 3 charges: felony home invasion, stalking, and entry without permission.
They had an intimate relationship for a number of years, defendant and victim, that our victim broke up with this defendant on Monday morning early, that there continued to be defendant making numerous phone calls and sending numerous texts from that time moving forward that she did not answer, did not respond to, and did not want.
Prosecutors say the woman told the university about the relationship, and Moore was fired on Wednesday. The 39-year-old husband and father of 3 was reportedly making about $5.5 million a year. Bond was set at $25,000. Moore was ordered to wear a GPS monitor and told to avoid all contact with the victim.
He just threw it all away.
People within the Michigan community were shocked by the arrest.
It was kind of eye-opening that I guess it happens anywhere, and it's kind of appalling, really.
Moore will be back in court next month. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
We are now calling case number 25F12175. This is the people of the state of Michigan versus Sherrone Banfield Moore. Mr. Simon. Appearances.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Katie Rizmersky, First Assistant Prosecutor for the Special Victims Unit for the People.
And Your Honor, Joe Simon on behalf of Mr. Moore.
That's the charges, sir.
We waive formal reading of the complaint. Your Honor, stand mute to the charges.
Formal reading having been waived, the plea of mute will be entered on your client's behalf. Simon, make your bond argument now or reserve?
Your Honor, I think the people want to make a presentation, and I'll go after that if that's okay.
All right, Ms. Wisniewski.
Your Honor, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Mr. Simon. And thank you for the opportunity to be heard. As the court is well aware, this is not a series of offenses in Michigan that allow you to deny bond. We're certainly not asking for that. This is a felony of home invasion 3rd degree, misdemeanor stalking, and misdemeanor entry without permission. Your Honor, we are asking for a $25,000 cash or surety bond in light of the fact that we cannot ask for you to deny bond. I get that he is a man of means, and so this is a bit of a nominal monetary ask, but quite frankly, it would be an ask that I would make for any defendant charged with these offenses before you. So what strikes me as perhaps more important in this scenario are conditions that I would like to ask for, because of course, as you know, Your Honor, you're tasked with trying to make sure that he reappears, but also the safety of the public and this victim in particular. So, Judge, in addition to an ask for a $25,000 cash or surety, we are asking, should he post that? Should you impose that? We are asking that you order that he undergo a mental health asking that you order him to submit to a GPS tether and that there be a no-go to this victim's residence or place of employment. Ask that you order that there be no contact with her whatsoever in any means, any fashion, direct or indirect. That there be no stalking behavior of any kind. That he be ordered to surrender any and all weapons. Further, that he be ordered to surrender his passport. Judge, the reason, Your Honor, the reason we make those requests is in light of the factual scenario that gives rise to these charges. My best understanding from a thorough review of the police report and as much body-worn camera as I've had an opportunity to review is that I understand that our victim broke up. They had an intimate relationship for a number of years, defendant and victim. That our victim broke up with this defendant on Monday morning early. That there continued to be defendant making numerous phone calls and sending numerous texts from that time moving forward that she did not answer, did not respond to, and did not want. That eventually she presented herself to the University of Michigan, cooperated in some form of investigation there. As we all now know, defendant was at some point on Wednesday afternoon fired from his employment. He then, at some point soon thereafter, came to her apartment in the address that is alleged in the complaint, barged his way into that apartment, immediately then proceeded to a kitchen drawer, grabbed several butter knives and a pair of kitchen scissors, and began to threaten his own life. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to make you watch. My blood is on your hands. You ruined my life. And a series of very, very threatening, intimidating, terrifying, quite frankly, statements and behaviors there in that apartment. It was only then, Your Honor, when the victim, she called her attorney and then at some point indicated she was going to call the police, and then he left. And so, Your Honor, while I understand that there isn't evidence to suggest that he directly threatened the victim with any of those implements that I've indicated, the totality of the behavior is highly threatening and highly intimidating. She was terrorized, Your Honor. And in light of the totality of all of those circumstances, we consider the defendant to be a risk to public safety, a risk to this victim, and it is for those reasons that we are asking for those specific conditions. I am more than happy to answer any other questions that the court may have or give you further information. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Judge.
Your Honor, with respect to the request for a mental health evaluation, I will represent a few things that are my understanding, again, without being privileged to have reviewed discovery data. My understanding is that following his arrest, my client was taken to the St. Joseph Mercy Health System for an evaluation, a mental health evaluation. My understanding is following that evaluation, he was not turned over for a commitment, but instead turned back over to law enforcement for lodging. That's where he's been in the Washtenaw County Jail since. I can also tell the court that the Community Mental Health Department saw my client yesterday for an evaluation as well without any further recommendation. If you make that a condition of bond, I can tell the court that he get a mental health evaluation, he will absolutely comply and follow any aftercare recommendation.
Mr. Moore, could you state your name, please?
Sherrone Moore.
Sir, you are not to use alcohol, marijuana, or any other controlled substance that is not prescribed to you. You are not to possess or purchase a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. You are not to engage in criminal conduct of any kind whatsoever. You may not leave the state of Michigan without permission of the court. Prior to your release, you will be placed on a GPS tether. You will not be released before that GPS tether is placed upon you. You must continue all mental health treatment as a condition of your bond. The named victim in this case will not be placed on the record. You may not have contact with that individual. That means no calling, no writing, no video chatting, no texting, no emailing, or any other form of contact the human mind can possibly fathom. No one in the world thinks that this person is going to reach out to you. Should they do so, and again, no one thinks that they're going to, you may not reply in any form or fashion. The named victim's address will not be placed on the record. You may not go to that location for any reason whatsoever. Are we understood on the no contact and no go-to, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you have any questions about that, you have a good attorney, simply ask them. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Bond will be set in the amount of $25,000 cash surety, as requested by the prosecution's office. This court does not determine innocence or guilt. This court determines flight risk and community safety. The court finds with these conditions in place, it has been met. Mr. Simon, we are setting probable cause conference at this time for January 8th due to the holidays and scheduling. Is that a good court date for you?
Your Honor, my client will waive his right to have that next court appearance within 14 days. I've discussed that with him. I also tried to coordinate calendars with Ms. Wismierski. In support of that, I think we're both available on January 22nd, if the court would order that. And I'll add one more thing for the record in support of that. I understand there is continuing investigation, so in addition to the discovery I don't yet have, there may be even more.
So it will be January 26th, 2020. January 22nd, then. January 22nd, 2026, 9 a.m., 14A1 District Court, Courtroom C. That will be in person. Sir, do not violate these bond conditions. Follow all orders of the court. Stay in contact with your lawyer. That concludes this hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
You people did not hold back. You people let it be known that it was poor judgment on his case, and if he was going to do something like that, he should have just did the proper channels. If you're going to do something like that, you should have done it in a turned away that really like ain't going to cost you everything, but you did the way you did. Now you paying for it, and paying for it real bad. And look at you now, not having nothing. You gain it all and you lose it all, just like that, in the instant. So, a lesson learned that never be emotional like that, and it cost you everything. I'm telling you, really cost you everything. Thank you all for watching this edition of Vow. I've been your host, Kendrick Dixon, and so long. We'll see you next time for another edition of Vow.